I'm Mark Scuderi. I've been running the Soapbox Derby in Rochester. This is our 25th year since we brought it back. And I was talking to the Monroe County Highway, what's the word I'm looking for?
Department of Transportation.
Department of Transportation. And the last meeting, I meet with them every May before we have the race on Lakeshore Boulevard.
Right.
And one of them, they said, you know what, 25 years ago, they told us that we were going to have to block the road for the Soapbox Derby. And we said, man, this is only going to last a year. So that was almost 25 years ago now. So we have gotten to the point where I'm getting old. And it's hard for me to be taking 100 cars from wherever we have them stored out to a location where we're racing, Lakeshore Boulevard, for the local races. And then we have to set that track up. If it rains, it's a huge problem. And the problem we have now is storage. We have 120 cars for kids to use. And right now I'm working with kids in the city at the 5 worst performing elementary schools. I go in every day from 3:30 to 5:15, and 5 different schools once a week. Okay, so all 5 days a week I'm working with kids. So 20 at each school. So I'm working with 100 kids now in a STEM program. And what I do is I teach them how to build the cars. But while we're building the cars, I teach them all of the science, technology, engineering, and math that goes into them. Okay? And this is 2nd grade all the way to 6th grade I'm working with. Once a year I take 24 of those kids to Akron, Ohio in May for the national championships. They race other kids who are in similar school STEM programs from around the country. In the last 3 years I've had a second, a first, and a second with the kids from Rochester in the city. These are kids that have never been out of the neighborhood. We take them to Ohio, they race on a national competitive basis, and we're winning. Those kids are winning. They're coming back and they're different kids. Even taking them through a whole school year, okay? They might be wild, crazy, you know, it's tough to work with them sometimes, but the next year when I go back into that school, it's totally different. You know, it's like, Mr. Mark, Mr. Mark. It's like, you know, they're hugging and they love the program. They get so much out of it. And when I get these little girls look up at me and say, I want to be an engineer someday. That's the best feeling. You can't imagine it. And one of the things I say to them is don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't be an engineer. And I'm so proud of you for even wanting to do something like that. So this Soapbox Derby is not about cars racing down a hill. It's about building self-confidence in children. It's about building them up and giving them an opportunity to see that their future can be a lot better than, you know, what they're looking at now. All right, so a few years ago, probably more than that, we came here with an idea of building a track at North Ponds Park, in between the 2 ponds. We were going to have a 2-story building up at the top, storage on the bottom, elevator that will bring the cars up to where the ramps are on the 2nd floor, and coming down toward the expressway. I thought that was just a fantastic place to put it because 100,000 cars a day would see it. And I know if I pass something like that, I'd want my kid to be on that. And by the way, I'm a Webster resident. I live on Nature Trail Circle. Nature Trail Circle. Yeah, right behind the country store on Lake Road. We have a path that some trees fell back in those woods.
Is there sawdust along with it now?
Things happen to trees and cats. Things happen to them.
It's very windy down there.
It's windy. Anyway, we can walk. I can actually get my golf cart through there now. So anyway, Webster resident now. We talked about North Ponds Park, and at the time you said, yeah, let's go for it. So I got Costich engineers. They surveyed the whole thing. Barkstrom and LaCroix, they did the architecture for the building. We had everything ready to go, and then I was told that we would be too noisy out there. And the answer to that is we're next to an expressway. When you're standing out there, you can't talk to the person next to you unless you're down. So I can't see how we would have added a lot of noise to that. But I've said for years that Ron is the best supervisor in Monroe County. Have I always said that?
Thank you.
Have I always said that though?
Yes, you have.
All right. All right, he keeps the taxes low, he's done a great job, I have all the respect in the world for him. So he came up with an idea, he says, how about you put it out on Phillips Road near the rec center? Okay, so we looked at that, there's no hill. In fact, it goes the wrong way. All right, but as it turns out, Jeff Richardson, who's a friend of this Jeff, okay? Jeff is the district manager for waste management. He said, we can make a hill, okay? Caterpillar, Waste Management is Caterpillar's biggest customer in the world. He can get Caterpillar to come in with equipment along with Volvo, and they can build a hill. Now that's what they did in Sanford, Florida, because everything's flat down there. They pushed the dirt from the bottom of the hill up to the top. So it starts above grade, ends below grade. It's a beautiful, beautiful hill to have. I have pictures of it if anybody's interested. I knew that was going to happen. In fact, this is Ned Green, he was going to come here. That I'm presenting right now. The police department building. Yeah, you got to come down to the other building. In fact, somebody's going to come out to the door. There's another building at the just north of there. All right, thanks. Bye. All right, so Waste Management is willing to build a hill for us. I still have Costage. They said that they did the survey for us for free. If they don't want to do it again, Labella said they would like to do it for us. We have the Pluta family from Pluta Cancer Center. Their kids went through the program. They were in the program for 8 or 9 years with all 3 of their kids.
I know Ronnie very well.
What's that?
I know Ronnie very well.
You know Ron? Yeah, okay. So Catherine came in 3rd in the world one year.
No kidding.
I think it was 2005. 3rd in the world.
They're growing up now, aren't they?
Oh, yes, they are. Catherine works at Breathe, right there in the plaza, right there, on the other side of the building. So he's willing to have a fundraiser for us at Oak Hill. I've talked to Danny Wegman, who's been our major sponsor for now. This is our 25th year they've been our sponsor. I asked him if he would like to come to the fundraiser. He said if he's in town, he'll be there. And they're going to support us. They always have. This is Ned Green. He's the owner of Wider Hardware on Monroe Avenue and down in Honeywell Falls. He's on our board of directors. Ned has a pretty good friend, John Harris, who's an attorney whose main business is working with foundations and recommending to foundations where they put money. So we think that this project might be as much as $1 million between the track and the building. And we believe we can raise the money to do that, not ask you for anything. In fact, the track and the building will belong to the town of Webster. We would just lease it from them once we got it built. And some reasons why we might want it in Webster. First of all, there's not that many permanent soapbox derby tracks in the country. Sanford, Florida, I mentioned, has one. Culpeper, Virginia. Jamestown, New York, of all places, has one. Salem, Oregon. Of course, Akron, Ohio is where the World Championships are held. There's a couple of them down in Kentucky and various, but there aren't that many. When you have one, it becomes the regional center, and you have kids coming from all over to race there. So in our case, we would have kids coming from all over New York State, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Ohio, would all be coming into our races for the rally races, which we hold about 6 weekends a year.
I was going to ask you, how time frame? All summer?
No,
Spring?
no, spring and fall
Spring and fall.
is when we would have the rallies. The local is in always like the first week in June, and then we prepare for the World Championships in July, so the 3rd weekend in July. And as soon as we get back from that, then we start the next season, which would be August, and then we'd have 3 races in that time frame, 3 in the spring. But this is a great complement to the Miracle Field, because there's what's called the Super Kids program. I have cars that are double cars, where we sit a child in the front, and we can sit an adult or another child who's a good driver in the back, and we take them down the hill. We take one of those kids, or two of those kids, to Akron each year, along with the rest of our winners, to race at the World Championships. And in 2018, Rochester, we won the World Championships for the Super Kids. Little kid Dylan Swanson, he's about that tall, okay? Going down the hill with another driver, but he wins the World Championship.
Partner with Challenger there, Mark?
Sure.
You like that?
I do.
By the way, I still have all the paperwork you gave me about 11 years ago, whatever it was.
Whereabouts,
If you were looking for it.
whereabouts would the hill be located on your complex?
Well, we were talking about, right on Chiota, Chiota, right across from the, Xerox parking lots. There's that whole field there.
Yeah.
Where the amphitheater was gonna go?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's the only place it could go.
That's looking up the hill, there's other views, if you want to pass those around. That would be looking up the hill. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It looks like it, but it's that.
No, we're not doing
So the track would go along the creek, and then the building we would need would be over where those pesky trees are. Another finger stroke.
So we'll be here.
Yes, the track would be right along there, and our building would be over there. Yeah, it's right across the street. I mean,
That's the
you
big-
see the road right there, and right next to it is parking.
That was the big thing, for me, that was the big thing at North Pines, you didn't have parking.
No, we didn't have parking in North Pine, it would have been neighbor.
For the number of people that are gonna be coming to this. You're gonna need to use that parking lot and the parking lot over here.
How about,
Up to 1,000 feet, but it has to be a minimum of 600, so we could, it'd be somewhere between 600 and 1,000.
concessions or something. Yes, bring them in.
Well, when we have the big race, at the local race for all the local kids, 120 kids, Wegmans supplies box lunches for everybody, so we don't sell them, just give them one. If somebody wants to come in there with a food truck,
Focuses on kids and family and,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the rest of that stuff,
Yes,
not so much.
I understand.
But, I mean, we just got Miracle. If we got a soapbox or permanent track installed here too, I mean, we're talking Webster is sports town. Well, I know we are, but more people will hear about it though.
Yes.
It's another piece to it, yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's on board, we've been working towards Challenger with Mark.
What happens to your Lakeshore Boulevard thing?
I'll answer that, held on.
The problem with Glacial is great, but there's a lot of soft time, so we're putting way too much energy into set up, repair them.
I'm sure the county would be glad for you to not do that anymore.
Yeah, there's some smaller ones. We should be looking up. Lakeshore Boulevard, actually, this is the 25th anniversary of us coming back. It's also the 25th anniversary of Quad A for Kids. It's a 501c3 in the city. They're the ones who actually have these after-school programs for the kids. 5 years ago, they called me and asked if I would be willing to help them get a soapbox survey program started with them.
Where did they race before 25 years ago? Because I had a classmate that won it. Probably in 1960-ish.
60th Lakeshore Boulevard.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I raced there 68, 69, and 70.
The Spooners.
Oh, yeah.
The name were the Spooners.
I remember the Spooners.
And we have another kid here with the Dozens kids,
He won the world championship.
and the two different classes, right?
Right, in 2 different classes.
Those are Webster kids.
Yeah, I know. I took them out there.
So what are we gonna do? We've always been on board, Mark, you know.
I just had to come and get the okay again to start getting it surveyed and start the ball rolling. Dolomite, okay, I talked to them about asphalt and stone and everything. They said, I'm gonna need about probably $167,000 worth of stone and asphalt. They give it to me for $63,000. Knock over $100,000 off.
Why don't you go out there and get it surveyed, and go to a Bell or Costas, and come back with a design?
okay?
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody is on board. Yeah, so we can see it, okay?
How big a building you want there?
Well, you say you have 120 cars.
store piece there.
Well, I also want to run races inside that building throughout the winter. But not just racing, but to be able to bring the kids out there and have them test their cars. We build, I got a big ramp, I need 200 feet. So the building I'm thinking of is 200 by 100.
So our indoor rails are kind of like at the army downtown, places like that.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
instead
okay.
of going, setting up and tearing down, it'd be a permanent.
If you held it at the Armory downtown, I know exactly how much distance.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
We've done it at the Dome Arena, we've done it.
Dome Arena, yeah, we've done it at Chase Martin Stores. Chase Martin Stores.
So with the storage piece, you're gonna be able to sort of store them all in there too, the 120 cars or whatever you got?
Yeah, they're like 6 feet long, 34 inches wide, so there'll be, on one wall, there's gonna be shelves. Yeah, and they'll stack them. We'll get them all in there. But then on race day, we bring them out, put them on the floor, and the pits are in the building. So if it's raining or something, it's not a problem, we don't get our cars all wet. And now we can expand the program. Like I was talking about, I didn't finish it with the super kids. So right now, when we have our race on Lakeshore Boulevard, they come in at lunchtime and they race for 45 minutes while we're all having lunch, okay? And then we take our winners out to Ohio. We can have weekends where, you know, we call up these organizations, bring all your kids out on the bus. We're gonna have these kids racing all weekend, okay? Just for super kids. I mean, that's just a really neat thing. And now we have the potential of getting something from the Galvesano Foundation at that point. But, you know, we're serious about those kids, and we win the world championship with one, and it shows it. And by the way, since we did bring this back to Rochester, we've won the world championship 13 times. So Ricky was 2 of them, okay? And little Dylan was our last one, but we've had 10 other ones besides them.
We're never gonna sell them, so you're gonna go for a lease agreement or
Yes.
something like that?
Right.
Maybe the sound thirty.
All right,
Similar to what we have for American Building.
so here's our uses. It's our local races for the local kids, 120. We'll have the rally races, kids coming in from all over, using our hotels, restaurants, whatever.
Yeah.
We can actually have summer camps, a week at a time. Drop your kid off at 7:30 in the morning, pick them up at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, they're going to be learning about the science, technology, engineering, and math, and going into making these cars fast. They'll be racing during the week, building cars. I would expect a lot of them, their parents would end up buying cars so that they can be in the regular races and start participating in the sport. We can do our banquets and our awards in that building. Again, the super kids can race. As far as the town is concerned, you guys want to use that building for anything? You have, for whatever programs you have, it's going to be there available. And also, we might even be able to do snow tubing in the winter. Let the residents come out and do snow tubing. Nothing with metal rails, but, yeah.
Because the escape ring is right on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be great for the town.
Total height off the ground.
I need a 30-foot drop,
You have side rails on the track,
absolutely.
so they can't carry them off.
Yep. And they're down right against the ground, they're not up in the air. So they're regular guardrails, but they sit right on the ground.
I'm just wondering how tubing would work on something like
Fine, I think it's fine. You got it, because you're gonna have about what's a guardrail, like 14 inches, something like that. All right, so you've got that sitting there, the tube goes and bounces off it and it just keeps going.
And even if we needed to put something in there for the season, it's always
that. Safety.
So I really.
Well, you can have a bigger building, so that would be better. That would be more of an architectural, like, wow, that's really cool. And whatnot. But this is would be a lot more functional. And plus, it's at the right size.
What's the age range of the participants?
7 to 21. 7 to 20. Once they hit 21, they're out.
There's an ultimate division for the college kids, so once you get 17, they age into slightly different set of rules, but they can engage companies to help support and sponsor. It really brings in that engineering component.
So what about with the not typical kids? What about the adult age? Because a lot of those years old or 10 years old, whatever it is, and they, now they're 20 or 30, could we still do, does it have to be a
They-
specific race? I
They
mean,
they can't go to Akron.
No,
Right.
could we still run some programming for that?
Yeah. Yeah, because I work with CP Rochester on Kings Highway. All right, there's 10 residents that live in that house. They come out to the race each year. This isn't you this time, right? Okay. How about that? Rid of that. That's my wife. I couldn't just.
I have no problem.
It's like a hard copy.
She's got the golf cart stuck in the woods.
That one tree just hasn't fallen yet for some reason.
I told you to put a winch in
She
it.
wedged it in there.
Yeah.
Now, this is a win-win.
Yeah.
How long did it take to build it? Do you ever got that?
I've never built anything like this, but I'm gonna do the best I can. You know, we have so much support. 25 years, I've had so many kids come through this program from all different resources, okay? Kids who have absolutely nothing to, for some of the people that are in the program. All right, district manager, police, management, Plutus, others. Okay, so,
Okay, direction here, go get your survey.
okay,
Not a problem. And then have whoever draw up what you think of the building, what
Yep.
you want,
Yep.
and everything, and bring it back to us.
okay.
So,
I'll visit with them, go to Costage tomorrow first, give them the opportunity, because they've already done all their work.
see Mark wants to do it, probably does.
Right.
Did he work that? He didn't do Mark.
No, he did, New Basket.
He didn't ask.
Oh, and I've heard that the Bolters were always too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I've got two 54-foot semis sitting out at his location, because we didn't have a place to put all our cars in the barn we had, they was getting torn down. So Wegmans came through and gave us the Chase Pickens store next to Lisa's Liquor Barn. So we've got that area, that's where everything is right now. Until they lease it, and then it's either gonna go back into, it's gonna go into those trailers, which means I can't even run the program out of those trailers, okay? But that's why I've gotta get this, I've gotta get something done now before that happens,
Got a time frame? Do you know how long?
this summer.
This summer?
That's what I would like to do.
One more.
Talking about a full bar building.
Yeah, but it's gonna have to be a little better than that because of the size of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
But we'll make it match like the rec center has that more room, little.
And, you probably have to make it appear himself, and that's what some of our kind of farmers.
Something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Quick look, see. Tended to be the Ron Nesbitt, Webster.
I don't think you want to do that.
I guarantee he'd be the first one to want to go down the track.
Oh, you're all gonna wanna go down there.
I love the snow tubing part of it too.
Yeah.
You can drive the sheriff's cars on the
A lot
track.
of fun stuff.
My grandkids love the skate park over there, or the ice skate.
That's nice. By the way, that sheriff's car you just talked about, we took that down to Avon, or whatever it was, Star Headlight, and they put all the, it looks like a county sheriff's car, and they put all of the flush lights on it, red and blue. No sirens, that was me with the whole.
Sounds exciting.
Okay. Let's get it done.
All right, hey,
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, this is gonna be, man, if this happens, man, it's just gonna be fantastic.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.